Hey, my friends, my dear friends. I'm glad you're here with us and you're watching this video. Video number 5. Let's get straight into it. I'm not the rah-rah type of guy, the trainer, where everything's just rah, we're all jumping. I'm not that. I love to teach. I love to give you principles. I love to give you nuggets so you can really think about it, implement it, turn your life around. This video, we're going to look at how to change from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. You're going to love this one. How to change from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. First of all, you got to increase your self-awareness. That's the first thing. How do you change from a fixed mindset, the one that's clogged up, that doesn't want to change, to a growth mindset that's growing every day? The fixed mindset often says, oh, I can't do that because people have said I can't do it. The growth mindset says, man, I can do anything. I can just, if I work hard at it, I know I'm going to be able to increase it. So the first thing you got to do is you got to increase your self-awareness. What does that mean for you? Look at your talents, look at your strengths, and even look at your weaknesses. But look at yourself and see who you are and what you have as a person. Because we all have talents. Every single person has talents, right? Some people are very good at music. Other people are very good at arts. Some are very good at communication. Others are very good at working with their hands. There's talents everywhere. Some are musicians. Some are, IT specialists. Some are gold diggers, Everybody has a special talent, and you have to look at those talents. And when we do the coaching, we have a good deep look at these things, especially the strengths that you have. You got to concentrate on those strengths, and then also the weaknesses, because we have to look at those things that we need to improve. Doesn't mean that we just focus on our weaknesses. We focus on our talents and our strengths, and yet at the same time we're working on some of those weaknesses so we can improve day in, day out. And that's a life journey. That's a lifelong journey. Okay. Number 2, how to change from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Number 2, look at failure differently. I've said this before, but I'm coming from a different aspect now. Look at failure differently. Had I not seen failure when I threw the discus so many years ago, I would have stayed a failure in that area. I would have proven nothing. I would have gone back home and got the cake, the pity party cake, and I would have been blowing the candle every single day. And the next time I will go back to the athletics carnival, I would do the same thing, and I will probably get laughed again, and I would just be in that rut. Do you feel that way right now? Do you feel like you're in that rut? Well, that's because you got to look at failure differently. Failure really is to improve us significantly. Failure is there so we can look at it and say, okay, I need to change this. I want to improve. I want to learn. I want to master this. That's what I had to do. I had to master a skill, a sports skill. And when I found out that I could have a coach, very important, you got to have a coach. I'm your coach. I'm right here to help you, right? You got to have a coach. Secondly, the coach has to help you to understand your potential, and although you don't see it at the beginning, he sees it, but he sees the end result. But when he sees the end result, the coach, that means there's a lot of work that you need to do in between. And you may talk about your failure, and I told my dad, I went to the house that day after my sports carnival. I went sort of like, crying a bit, and Dad, I failed. I threw the discus really bad, and blah, blah, blah. If I would have stayed in that position, my dad would have said, well, it was a tough day, son, eh? But I didn't do that. I told him that I did fail that day, but I told him, but Dad, I know that you can teach me. I want a discus. And I bothered him for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Every day after school, when he would come back home, I'd be waiting for him. Dad, the discus, Dad. I want a discus. I want you to train me. And when he saw my persistence, then he said, I'm going to get my son a discus. You know what? He got the cheapest discus in town. The cheapest. It was a rubber discus. It smelled like rubber. But I slept with that discus, remember, right? And then he taught me. And then I began to throw. And then when I became very good, Then he got me a proper discus, a professional discus. Why? Because so much of the time we say, I want this, I want this, I want this. We get something new, and guess what? There it is. On the side, you left it. Why? You really didn't want it. You really didn't want to change. So failure has to be looked at differently. And did you know that failure is part of success? If you look at it this way, failure is part of success. I'm not saying that you aim at failing all the time. Don't aim at it. We will fail, but don't aim at failing, right? Sometimes failure comes because of our lack of knowledge, our lack of understanding, because of our assumption, because we didn't investigate properly. There are many things why we fail, but we learn from that. But failure is also part of success, and failure is very effective when we learn from it. When we walk away and we learn and we say, right, that's not going to happen to me again. I'm going to learn how to master this. Whatever it is, you're going to learn to master it. Okay? So increase your self-awareness. Number 2, look at failure differently. Number 3, create a new compelling belief. Create a new compelling belief. Your mindset is fixed when your mindset and you're saying to yourself, I can't do it. It's impossible. Others have tried. I can't do it. My parents said I can't do it. And all these things that we use, all these excuses. But when we want to have a growth mindset, we look at it differently. We say, I will, I can, I will, I must, right? You have a certain determination and you say, I will find out how to do it. I will find out the skills. I will go to a coach. I will train myself. And from then on in, you just go and then you prove to others that you could, right? So you got to create a new compelling belief. Learn to excel at challenges. That's a new compelling belief. You got to say, okay, when a challenge comes, I'm going to meet it eye to eye. And I'm going to learn how to overcome it. Okay? The second thing, challenges will propel you towards your goals. If you have the right belief, the right mentality, that mentality will say, okay, wait a minute, let's get the journal. What's the challenge? You write up the challenge. Then you say, okay, how am I going to overcome that? Who do I need to speak to? What do I need to get? Right? Where do I need to get the information? We have to overcome that challenge. In how many days? 1 day, 2 days, 1 week? But you got to make it happen. Right? So you need to be able to write your goals for that. So no matter how far you fall, it is up to you to get up and to start again. Simple as that. Doesn't matter how far you fall. Yesterday I was seeing a story of a young woman who had a car accident. She loved horse riding and she loved horse racing and she loved the rodeo. But she had an accident. She unbuckled her seatbelt because she wanted to reach out to get something on the not the driver's seat but on the passenger seat, and she took her eyes off the road. The car veered to the right. She hit the side of the road. The car lost control and then began to flip over. She went flying off from the car because she didn't have the seatbelt on. She broke her back. And she was a champion rodeo rider. She broke her back. And I love the story because you know what? Although she went through the pain, the disappointment, the disillusionment, her life changed. No doubt it changed. But guess what? She got back on that. And when the doctor asked her, what do you want to do? She says, I'm going to walk, I'm going to ride, and I'm going to rodeo. Yeah? And she rode the horse. After many months, she began to ride on that horse. She had to literally use a belt, a seat belt, connected to the saddle because she had lost all her balance. But she trained herself so much that she put a seat belt connected to the saddle. That seat belt that she didn't wear in the car, now she was wearing it riding the horse. And because of that seat belt and the strapping she put against her legs to the saddle that gave her stability, she was able to go in the rodeo, and she won. She went to the All-American Rodeo racing. The horse has to go through these barrels. You know, they race through these barrels, and they got to race through them, and then in certain seconds. And even before she had the accident, she was only going to 17 seconds, going the whole turn with the horse. But when she started training more and more and more and more with determination, guys, and not saying my life is over, but she looked for a solution, you know what happened? She won the All-American at 15 seconds, and I think it was 15 seconds and a bit more, and she won it. She won it with her disability. She won it. Why? Because she had grit. She said, I've fallen far, but I'm getting up and I'm going for it. So if you want to lead an incredible life, you have to decide to change your mindset. You have to decide to change your mindset. And here, as a coach, I'm ready to help you to change that mindset, to really think about what's happening to your life, and you are going to make those changes because you have the potential, you have the persona, and you have everything that you need to do that. This is John Green of Peak Performance Training Solutions, your online coach.